Today we're going to be talking about volunteer opportunities and along with things that other things that you can do over summer, like internships, like internships. Oh, okay. So today's agenda, we're going to be talking about 6 different things, followed by a Q&A. So we're going to be talking about volunteering in the college application, what counts as a volunteering opportunity, and then opportunities in different for different fields, CS and engineering, medical, law, and business. So with that, I'll go ahead and start off with the importance of volunteering in the college application. So, so why should you volunteer? There, there could be multiple answers. One, I think, personally for me and what I've heard from others, volunteering is a really good way to really show your interests. But also in terms of the college application, when you're applying for college, there are multiple parts as to where you can say about where you can talk about the volunteering work that you did. So here I have a couple examples. So when you apply, there will be something called an activity list that you submit to most colleges, including UCs. So in that activity list, there's one section where, if you notice in the screenshot, I know it is a bit zoomed out, but there's award or honors, educational preparation programs, extracurricular activities, other coursework, and then the next thing up is volunteer/community service, as well as work experience. So here in this activity list, you'll be able to add all the volunteer work you did and the work experience you had. And then if you were active on the Telegram group chat, we were talking about a while ago, we were talking about UC essay prompts and as well as the common application essay prompts. And the seventh UC prompt is, what have you done to make your school or community a better place? So in this sense, really, to break that prompt down, it's what volunteer work did you do? And so yeah, so those are two of the most prominent places where you'll see where you can talk about the volunteer work you did in high school. And once again, yeah, so when you're applying for college, it is limited to the volunteer work you did in high school. You can't use whatever you did before high school. And then when you're for sometimes for supplemental essays, which is essays specific to colleges, there may be prompts related to the volunteer work you did. And so while so it is important to find volunteering and summer opportunities that are meaningful to you and involve work that you're passionate about. But that also means that it does not always have to relate to your major, as long as you have a story behind it or you're passionate about it. So for example, I'm interested in computer science. I want to pursue it in college. Um, so while I am interested in computer science, I I pursued more extracurricular activities in computer science, like being on the school's robotics team. But volunteer work wise, like Dream Big is one of my volunteer work. But in terms of teaching, and the purpose of Dream Big is to teach people about the college admissions process. But that doesn't necessarily relate to my major of computer science. But regardless, I'm passionate about the volunteer work I'm doing, and there's also a story I have behind the activity, and hence, I think, so hence those are different outlets about how you should be thinking about what volunteer work you should do. And I'm saying, while it can relate to your major, it does not always have to. And next up, also try to be unique and try to be unique in what volunteer work you're doing. Um, you know, you don't want to always include. You can do stuff that thousands of other applicants would talk about, but if you're doing stuff that thousands of other applicants are going to talk about, when the admissions officer is reading your application, there's going to be nothing new that he or she finds, and there's nothing that's going to make you stand out among the other applicants. Instead, you want to do something that you think not many other people are going to have. There's going to be a limited set of people who do what you do, or maybe you do something that absolutely no one else will have, and that'll definitely like. So now, what counts as a volunteering opportunity? So the reason we have this section is sometimes there's a misconception over what a volunteering opportunity counts as. So I want to make sure that everybody's clear on this. But before I move on, if you have any questions as we go through this presentation, feel free to put it in the chat, and then we'll go through all those questions once we have finished the presentation. And then after we go through the questions that have come into the chat, we'll open it up to any live questions. So what is a volunteering opportunity? And as I said, people can mistake what it is. So sometimes they can be selective programs that you get into, and sometimes they don't have to be selective programs. Um, so when I was in my freshman year summer and my brother was in his junior year summer, we went and visited some colleges in the East Coast as we went and visited my uncle. And we went to University of Pennsylvania was UPenn was one of the colleges that we visited. Um, and they had like sort of this demo presentation um, where they talked about admissions factors, the factors that they take into account when giving out admissions. And one thing they talked about is volunteer work. And what they were saying is that this volunteer work can be as simple as helping your household with doing dishes. And that's because for some people, they don't always have the opportunity to go to those selective programs. Sometimes those selective programs can cost up to $5,000, $6,000. And some people don't have the money and they really don't have the opportunity, even though they may be capable of getting into that selective program, they may not have the opportunity to do so. And really like if both your parents are working hard to make money for the family to support your family, and there's really no one to do the chores at home. Doing chores at home can be viewed as volunteer work, and since the entire college application is viewed in the context of your opportunities, which I'll get into on the next slide, since it's being viewed in the context of your opportunities, doing dishes can be equal to doing what you do in a selective program, and it depends on really your background and stuff. And so UC Santa Cruz had sent out an email once, I think earlier, or this probably is on their website as well. And I'll read out the quote real quick. Freshman applicants are evaluated using a comprehensive review process that considers all aspects of a student's application, including grades, test scores, completed coursework, and extracurricular activities within the context of their opportunities. So in this case, volunteer work is going into extracurricular activities. Um, so basically, what they're saying is, I think the last phrase, the last couple of words, is the most important within the context of their opportunities. So same thing. Once again, if someone's background is pretty poor and both their parents are working hard and they don't have the opportunity to go to a higher level to do volunteer work or even summer opportunities, or if they don't have the opportunity to get an internship, um, then if you're able to mention that somewhere clearly in your essay or something, then they'll understand and they'll view you based on your background. So yeah. All right. I think with that, that goes through our general information about volunteer work, and we'll head into CS and engineering volunteering opportunities. We have some specific examples for you all, and I'll hand it off to Preeth here.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. So, I'll just get right into it. There are multiple CS volunteering opportunities here in the Bay Area, especially around the Fremont area, and it's very common around here as a lot of people in the Bay Area want to major in this particular field and this particular industry. So, some of the most common volunteer opportunities would be at nonprofits or other local organizations. So here I've linked organization, the Programming Foundation. What this organization does is it seeks opportunities like for people that really want to get into the CS field. And here are a few requirements or prerequisites: experience with HTML, experience with CSS and JavaScript, and familiarity with Squarespace and other content management systems. So the Program Foundation is a nonprofit that that gives a lot of internships as well as job opportunities for high schoolers. And what they require is they have a certain set of prerequisites for the student to have, and then there'll be an interview process where you can go through, and they'll select you in their opportunity, and you can get more information on their website. So I've linked that the Programming Foundation website here. We'll be seeing at the slideshow later after the session, so you can access all the links that are listed. Following this, there's another organization called Code for Fun. This opportunity helps people with a little bit of CS experience And you can volunteer in this by building curriculums, teaching concepts, or even helping the organization expand. So what this does is like it's an organization that teaches CS to lots of little kids, high schoolers, other middle schoolers, and so there's two ways to do it. This is a volunteer opportunity, meaning that you can volunteer for them, or there's one where you can just register in their program and become a learner. I'll talk about the volunteering opportunity first. Being a volunteer, you might need to build the curriculums. You might need to teach the classes. You might need to help the organization expand. So, how will you expand the organization? What marketing strategies will you use? All that. For a lot of these uh, volunteer opportunities, there is an age requirement. 16 or above for the Code for Fun is the age requirement. And please note that some you don't need to, you might not need to, but you might have to get fingerprinting done for like just security reasons that makes you legal and all that. And a lot of these opportunities, even in the upcoming slides, some of them may require citizenship, some of them may not require citizenship. Some of them are paid, some of them are not. So it's there are a lot of legality issues that come in play, and you should just be aware of those. So these are a few CS launching opportunities, and one of the biggest tips that we can give you is that a lot of times employers or relatives working at a company may give us special internship or opportunities like that. So meaning that you should look for opportunities at your own company. For example, Cisco, your uncle might work there, your dad might work there, and they might know specific opportunities that Cisco is giving out, and they're not really known to the common public or the general public. You can just ask your parents or your family members and see what they have to offer you. So sometimes these internships are very selective, and if you have a personal relationship, it's always the best. Moving on to engineering volunteering opportunities, there are a variety of engineering volunteer opportunities, the most common being opportunities in the mechanical and the electrical engineering field. So here's an internship. Internships at companies uh, show that you have knowledge and experience. If you're working at some big companies and you're building on whatever mechanically or electrically, then it's very good on your college application. It looks nice. For example, if you're working at Apple and the hardware in the hardware selection, meaning that you're working with hard disks, you're working with all the wire management, the battery supply chain, all that and you're applying as an electrical major, then working at Apple and working at that particular branch as an intern suits very well on your college application. So here is an organization, Engineering for Change. This organization requires a few prerequisites and possibly a membership. But what they do is they create projects in sanitation, transportation, water, health, and many other common world crises. And all you do is just you go as a volunteer and help them out, build a few projects all across the world, and see how your projects work out. Once again, knowing someone specific in a college or company helps better, and since not a lot of the internships or opportunities are well known to the general public. So now I'll be heading it off to Aryan, who will be speaking about medical volunteer opportunities.
Hi, I'm Aryan, and now I'll talk about some medical volunteering opportunities. So, for those of you looking for medical volunteering opportunities, you're in luck. There are numerous types of medical volunteering opportunities, so I'll talk about the most common of them. Volunteering at a hospital or health clinic. You might be able to provide customer service to patients, answer phones, and file paperwork, and help make patients feel comfortable. You can interact with and observe doctors, work with patients, and experience a real life medical environment, which may help you in deciding if the medical field is a field for you. To find such volunteering opportunities, you can go to the websites of hospitals and health clinics near you. They usually have information about their volunteering programs on their website. You can also call and ask them. Now I'll briefly describe an example of volunteering at a hospital, Kaiser Permanente. Volunteers will be the key communication link between patients, families, and hospital staff. Volunteers will be part of a team dedicated to providing high-quality healthcare and experience the medical profession environment at Kaiser Permanente Hospital. High school students are not accepted at all locations, though, so you might want to check with your local branch to see if they accept high school volunteers. There are some prerequisites to volunteer, and those and how to volunteer can be found on their website. 2. Applying for medical internship programs. Many medical associations, colleges, and universities offer internships and research positions. Some examples are the National Institute of Health, Stanford Medicine, the Mayo Clinic, the American Cancer Society, the University of Chicago, and more. These programs typically occur over the summer. Duties and experience vary, but many include job shadowing and hands-on skill, practice, or research. You will need to apply for these. So you will need to apply for these, and many of them are highly competitive. Consider factors like cost, travel, and living arrangements. Record important application deadlines for the programs that interest you and start applying. Now, I'll briefly describe one such internship, the Arthritis Foundation Summer Science Internship Program. In this internship, volunteers will be placed in the rheumatology and immunology laboratories at Stanford University and the University of California, San Francisco. Through this internship, students receive hands-on experience in the fields of rheumatology and immunology with a focus on arthritis and related autoimmune diseases. Volunteers will either focus on basic laboratory research or patient outcomes-oriented research. You can find more information on their website. Their website is linked to our slides. Participating in summer medical programs. There are also less competitive summer medical programs that take place on college campuses or through organizations like the National Student Leadership Conference. They're not as impressive as competitive internships or research positions, but do offer valuable college experience. Another way is job shadowing a doctor. In job shadowing, you spend several days observing a professional in a job that interests you. Here, it's going to be a doctor. You may have the chance to perform some basic doctor duties, and you'll get to discuss the career with the doctor and learn about their schedule, responsibilities, and experience. Start by asking your guidance counselor if he or she knows of any organizations you can contact. You can also call or email a local hospital or clinic and ask if they would allow you to shadow someone. If someone from your family happens to be a doctor, you can ask them. Once you've set up a date or time, prepare some questions you'd like to ask the doctor you're shadowing. Learn from the experience. Would you enjoy it? Is it right for you? Volunteering at a nursing home/homeless shelter. Doctors must be compassionate, empathetic, and be able to communicate with and serve all kinds of people. Thus, any type of volunteer experience where you help people is useful, even if it isn't directly tied to the medical field. You can find these opportunities by asking your guidance counselor for help, searching online, or by contacting community organizations directly.
So now we'll be talking about volunteer opportunities if you want to go into a law. So law volunteering opportunities fall into two different categories. The first category is asking law firms for internships, which will boost your college application. Law firms are encouraged by the government to hire high schoolers, so it's pretty easy to find internships for high schoolers. I even linked a list of different internships offered by law firms in California. Another way to show volunteering opportunity if you're going to go into law is by doing community service projects. This is important because it shows leadership and your care for the community, which may serve you if you go into politics with your law degree. Next slide. So So one of the programs that were on the list is the DOI Pathways program. This program gives students a perspective of the inner workings of policymaking in the government. So you'll see how the government makes laws and the entire process if you want to get into that sort of stuff after college. This is a paid internship, so it's really good, and it may lead to a full-time job if you get selected, but the selection process is competitive and you may need to fulfill some requirements. Next slide. The National Student Leadership Conference's Law and Advocacy Program is another internship that, in this case, gives perspective of what it's like to be a lawyer and work in a court. In this program, you'll simulate a trial, visit law schools, and get to interact with law officials such as judges and jury members. Although this program does have a high tuition, it does also offer scholarships and is worth it if you are very interested and you know that you want to go into a career in law. Okay.
Okay, so I will be speaking about business volunteering opportunities. So, starting off, one of the best ways to get internships, especially in the business or the entrepreneurship world, is to have a connection. Having connections with someone who might have a job for you. Just for example, if I knew Bill Gates, I would just ask him, hey, can I work at Microsoft? Or just get in touch with him. It's always best to have a connection at a company that you'd like to go into, maybe like a dream job. It's always best to have someone that you know that can help you through the process of the application as well as the process of getting into the thing, how to do the interviews, how much time is required, and all the preparation beforehand. And please remember that you won't always get accepted in all the things you try out for, but it's always best to try out for them. A lot of the applications have a lot of other competitors, and you may not always be the best one. And in that case, it's fine. Just keep on trying, apply to multiple different opportunities. Anyways, moving on. Business Professionals of America. It's a launching as an organization located in America, and what it does is it basically has volunteer opportunities for students who would like to experience the business world. And in this opportunity, the students, or specifically high schoolers, they can become judges for competitions. They can become involved in various activities, along with leading seminars, teaching classes, holding workshops, and basically just teaching the whole world about the business world and how it is and what it does. So this is an opportunity, and please note that a lot of these opportunities they do have deadlines, and so these deadlines are very strict. So please, if you want to apply to them, please apply to them as soon as possible. And I do want to note that a lot of the things that we did research for, their applications had already passed back, so we could not include them in the presentation. So we'll be giving a lot more messages in the group chat coming forward about these opportunities because the deadlines have not, like, some of them have passed, some of them will be upcoming for the next year. So moving on, we do have a YouTube channel for those that don't know. Our YouTube channel will post lots of informational sessions and videos and various topics. So someone will be sending out that link in the chat right now. And on our YouTube video, we have lots of videos about standardized testing, and a lot more will be coming up and will be posted there as well. And as for next session, we have a session next week, so that would be July 17th, I believe, where we have a session with a student from Yale University as well as a student from Purdue University, and they'll be talking about their high school and their college experiences, which include their college life, their path, their careers pathway, and all that. So we would highly encourage you guys to just invite your friends, family, and post the invite link in the group chats, and that'll be very helpful for us. So now I think we would like to transition to the Q&A.
Oh, 1 second, wait. Sorry. So just before we move on to the Q&A, I'd like to provide a sort of conclusion to this session because I know we threw a lot of links at you. We threw a lot of links at you. Hopefully we covered all the majors that we could have with law, medical, business, computer science, engineering. And I hope this kind of covered all the realm of majors that you could choose from at a college. But I also want to talk about one last thing that we did not include in the slides, but we did mention that a lot of these programs that we included could be selective programs, right? I'll stop screen sharing 1 second. Yeah. So we mentioned that a lot of these programs could be selective programs. There's no guarantee that you're going to get in, and also these programs we chose the option that like if you join their program, they're going to give you something to do, and you're going to have to do what they tell you. and some people really may enjoy that atmosphere where they're given a task and they'll be told to execute that task. They'll do the task by the given deadline. And I think um, some of these more competitive programs if you have all the opportunities in the world, some of the more competitive programs will seem more impressive to college admissions officers. But with volunteering opportunities, once again, that's not always the case. That you have to go into a competitive program to be volunteering. Um, Sometimes if you're not, there's a bunch of things, bunch of purposes in this world, and I think if you have something that you're truly passionate about, instead of looking for opportunities online, instead of seeing if some organization offers a volunteering opportunity for you to go about doing, one of the best things that you can do is make your own organization, whether it be a nonprofit or not. You can make your own organization and execute the volunteering opportunity that you want to. For example, let's take Dream Big as an example. Um, After seeing like some people, including my brother, have no prior knowledge about the college admissions process, um, and it was kind of a struggle for him, my parents, everybody, to understand, learn about the college admissions process firsthand because we didn't have any friends that had gone through it either because my brother was the oldest out of all of them. And when I was looking online, there were some, but not really any fully developed organizations that like had volunteer opportunities for this, and hence I went ahead and made my own organization. And so, if you're truly passionate about something, go ahead, make your own organization and volunteer, perform volunteering work that way, and that way you'll also have one of the question you'll also have a leadership position in what you're doing as one of the there's another UC prompt. The first one's actually describe one of your leadership efforts. So that way, if you make your own organization, you'll be able to do that. So if there's not something online that will give you an opportunity, go ahead and really strive and work hard to make your own.